Anyway, 47, according to their latest stats, who are not going to the Trump inauguration. 47. They're all Democratic members of the House, and that number keeps growing. Now, there are 194 House Democrats, so right now it's about a quarter who are skipping the inauguration. We've never seen numbers this high unless you want to go back to a different time in period 1860 when Abraham Lincoln was assuming office and a lot of southern states were peeling off from the country. That was then. This is now. Very different circumstance now. But 13 of the 47 House Democrats skipping their inauguration are from California. Furthermore, House Democrats skipping their inauguration are totally from 23 states, again, disproportionately California, and 67% of those not attending are from states that Hillary Clinton won. I see what's going on here. All right. Let's get the read from former Bush 43 Special Assistant Ron Christie, Democratic strategist Marjorie Clifton. Marjorie, what do you make of this? Most are from California, two-thirds from states that Hillary Clinton won. So they have an axe to grind, and they're grinding it, right?
Well, actually, a lot of this has been response to two things. One, Congress is out of session. All of Washington, D.C. is going to be flooded with people. They are for the inauguration, and visitors is one of the things people claim is why they don't go. But I think the bigger thing was a fallout from...
That's bull. Right. Anyone worth his or her salt wants a front seat, which they get, by the way, at the inauguration.
Right. Right, but the bigger issue has been in response to John Lewis, and that was the remarks, the tweets that Trump put out criticizing John Lewis after he commented on the legitimacy of the presidency. And John Lewis, being an iconic civil rights hero, being someone regarded by many in Congress, has never missed an inauguration and said that he would sit this one out because he philosophically does not support this president, and many of his response to his comments on African Americans, on women, and a lot of critical things. And so that has been a big pushback just in the last 24 hours.
The tweet was probably not the wisest thing on the president-elect's part. But, you know, Ron Christie, it did start with the congressman calling him an illegitimate president. That probably didn't sit well with the pretty volatile Mr. Trump. Is there any way, with a few days to go, these guys can patch things up? Talk about it, just whether you like Donald Trump or not, whether he likes Congressman Lewis or not, move on, and for the good of the country, show, you know, that we're unified.
Good afternoon, Neil. Yes, I think they should. I think Donald Trump and Congressman Lewis should have a phone conversation at a bare minimum. You're talking about an icon, as Marjorie said, from the civil rights movement, someone who stood by Dr. King's side. And, of course, what did Dr. King tell us? To not drink from that cup of bitterness. It seems to me that John Lewis sounds very bitter. He sounds like he is very upset by the election results. But that's why we're the beacon of freedom and democracy around the world, Neil, is that we have a peaceful transfer of power. And Donald Trump and John Lewis, I think, have an obligation to try to see if they can find ways to work together before he's inaugurated, and most importantly, once he becomes our 45th president of the United States.
Well, there's very little danger here, Marjorie, of the ones who aren't going, since most of them come from California and virtually all from states that Hillary Clinton won. So there's no political brushback for them. But do you worry that this sets a precedent here, that let's say 4 years from now a Democrat is elected, and Republicans say it's tit for tat, they opt out of going to the inauguration, and then we make this a quadrennial sort of a you-know-what match?
Well, I worry about just the overarching change and shift in how we, the traditions and how we operate around a president in general. So not just around this particular thing. And yes, I do think, you know, standing by who we elect is important, and coming to the table is important. But I also feel like the way that Trump has handled, you know, the way he's taking to Twitter, the way he's criticizing people, and a lot of the decorum and, frankly, tradition that we had in place, even in how you appoint cabinets, who you put in the White House, those kinds of things, everything has been taken off the table. This is not a presidency like anything we've ever seen before, the way people talk to each other, the way people interact, and I think it is problematic for our coming Congress. I think it is problematic, you know, for the future. So I am hoping that following this presidency, there may be a reset across the board, and I do feel like we need to revisit the ways that we talk to each other and operate. Or you could have it in this presidency, right? And sometimes it takes other events that galvanize that, and, you know, if you look at it, Ron, it could be
all these CEOs that are trying to curry favor with the new administration. I know what they're up to. The last thing you want is a nasty tweet from Donald Trump embarrassing you and getting your shareholders all agitated. So they're playing the game, and you know, kudos to them. But do you think they lead Congress? In other words, Donald Trump's attempt to go over congressional opposition heads and try to woo the public and beginning with corporate America to go my way or the highway will be what settles this?
I think it will, Neil. I think it's actually very smart what the president-elect is doing. He's recognized that the Washington press corps and the echo chamber, if you will, has been very hostile to him. He's taking his message directly to the American people. I think these CEOs that we've seen not only visiting with Trump and Trump Tower, but phone conversations and meetings they've had, they've been able to iron out some really good solutions to keep thousands of jobs here in America. So, sure, if the president-elect can work with Congress, I know he will, but he's also determined, I believe, that he has the opportunity to have that megaphone, to take to Twitter, to take to social media.
I think the Twitter thing should stop. I know I sound like an old fogey, and actually Trump's a lot older than I am, but it's got to stop. It's not, I don't think it's presidential, but I'm apparently the only one who seems to think that.
No,
but what do you think?
I'm with you.
It's a new day, Neil.
Yeah, it's a new day. But, I mean, you're the leader of the free world. Stop it.
Come on, Ron.
Come on.
Look, Marjorie, you and I wouldn't do this, and neither would Neil. But, again, I think that's why Donald Trump won.
I'm telling you, Ron, listen to me now. Pay attention to me later. This Internet is going to be big. So that's all I'm saying.
Hey, Neil, you've got a bridge to sell me, too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I know what I'm talking about. Guys, thank you both very, very much. I appreciate your insight, as always.